January last year and January this year are practically identical in the amount of single family homes that sold in the city of Fond du Lac. Last year it was 24 and this year it was 23. 18 of these 23 homes sold under 300K. That's about 78% of the homes selling under 300K, and this is a continued trend from the last quarter of 2023, where our distribution is showing about 70 something percent selling under that 300K mark. The median single family home sold price for the city of Fond du Lac in the month of January was 220K. This keeps with our trend from 2023 being in the lower 200s, which we really saw all of the second half of 2023. In January, 61% of homes sold at or above asking price in the city of Fond du Lac. But that distribution is actually pretty even across the board. So 8 sold above, 6 sold at, 9 sold under. So you can see that there's not one dominant category. But we are actually stronger than last month and stronger than January a year ago. January a year ago in 2023, only 33% of homes sold at or above asking compared to 61% this year. And last month it was 51%. So we're up slightly. So looking at that data, we're actually having a pretty strong January for amount of homes selling at or above list price. Amount of price reductions is actually pretty similar to last January as well. So of the homes that sold, how many of them took price reductions? Last January, that was 37% of them, and this January, it's 39% of them. So you can see it's actually very similar. This is also pretty similar to what we saw in November of 2023. Our dominant category for amount of time it took to accept an offer for all of 2023 was about 1 week. And I want you to notice this change, this shift here, because the amount of homes that took 1 week, it's also the same amount of homes that took 1 month. So just be prepared that taking a month to get an offer is something that became more normal in the month of January with its closings. We'll see if this becomes a trend as we continue through the next few months. But also take note that there's only a few houses that took longer than a month to sell and took up to 2 months. Everything was sold by 2 months. Median days on market for January of this year was 58. And guess what? For last year, January, it was also 58. So as I've been going through this data, there are actually a lot of similarities between January of 2023 and January this year. Now, last year, that 58 for median days on market was the highest of the entire year for median days on market. This year, I'm not so sure that it's going to be the highest of all year. It may be more flat or more similar to that. We will have to wait and see what happens here these next few months. Currently, there are 68 single-family homes in the city of Fond du Lac on the market. This is a similar number to June of 2023. For comparison to January of 2023, it was in the mid-50s. So we are definitely up in the amount of inventory total as to a year ago, or more about where mid-year was in 2023. So what is the breakdown of those 68 houses? Well, 42 of those are under contract, have an accepted offer. There are 26 homes active, no offer, which are available to purchase. That means 38% of the homes that are currently on the market are available for you to make an offer on. So what conclusions can we draw after looking at January's data? Well, sellers, I'm going to talk to you first. Looking at the amount of time that it took to sell houses, we saw that it had been pretty dominant in the 1 week category for a long time. But looking at January's data, there's also a good chunk of houses that took about a month to sell. So be prepared that it could take you a month to sell your home. It's becoming more normal, but most houses sold within 2 months. Also, be aware that it was a pretty even distribution across the board for the amount of homes that sold at or above or under. There wasn't really a dominant category that really stood out, like maybe in the past where how many were selling above. It's a pretty even distribution, so be aware of that. Also, sellers, I just talked about how many houses are on the market that are completely available, and that's 38% of the houses on the market are available. Now, that is still telling you it's a seller's market. If that number was 75%, well, that would say that there wasn't that many houses under contract and that you would have a lot of competition. But at 38%, your competition is still not that fierce. So even though I said be prepared for a month on the market, think about it. We're not in the times where it's taking 6 months to sell a house or anything like that. We are still in a seller's market. Maybe not as hot of a seller's market as it had been in the past, but still overall a seller's market. Buyers, now I'm talking to you. First, let's talk about interest rates. There had been predictions that cuts were going to be made in March, but then that got pushed to May, and now it's also questionable if that's going to happen in May. It's really a situation to continue to monitor, but I am just going to tell you to be prepared for 6-something% interest rates. Then I also want you to know that I talked about the distribution of houses selling at or above or under, and that it was pretty even. So it's really going to depend on the house for how competitive it's going to be. I also mentioned that there are many houses that are taking around a month to sell. So it's not like every single house, again, is going to be in that multiple offer situation, but also don't think that because a house has been on the market for a month that you just get to come in and really lowball it, because if a month is more of the norm, it's pretty often that houses will still get asking price or close to, sometimes even over, when they've been on for that month time. So just don't think that because a house has been on the market for a month that you can go in and offer $20,000 less or something like that. So we are not in a market where houses have been on the market for 6 months and people are desperate and all of that. So just know that we're still in a seller's market is really what I'm trying to tell you.